Good day, everybody. Welcome to another learning experience. My name is Akintaru Iyola Ifeoluwa, and today we are going into the second part, which is Graphic Design 102. So we want to continue with our lesson today. Today we'll be looking at two important aspects of graphic design. We'll be looking at the elements of design and the principles of design. And at the end of the lesson, you'll be able to learn what are the basic elements of a design, how you can apply them, and what are the guiding rules in making use of these elements. So let's go deep inside it. Today's lesson promised to be so exciting and so educative. So let's go straight to elements of design. What are elements of design? These are what make up the whole design. They are your design ingredients. You communicate your ideas and information visually, making use of these elements. As you know, if you want to prepare a food, you must have ingredients for your food. Just think of your elements as you think of your food ingredients. So they are your design ingredients. And you know that the quality of the ingredients will talk about the taste of the food. So also the quality of the design element you are making use of and how you can manage it professionally will talk about the end product of your design. That is what is meant by elements of design. Let's go deep into the different elements of designs that we have. Number one, line. We all know line. We have always been conversant with lines. We know about short dashes, long dashes, all those different kinds of lines that we have. Now, line is a mark between 2 points. In graphic design, we use line to connect content to one another, produce a pattern, draw attention to an object, create illustrations, and many more. So there are different kinds of things you can use your line for. By underlining a word alone, an attention can be made to a particular statement. So that is one of the elements of design that we use. The second element of design is shape. A shape can be defined as the form of an object or its outline, outer boundary or outer surface. In graphic design, shapes are of three types. Many of you might not know this before. Many of us know about geometric shapes, but we also have natural shapes and abstracted shapes. So let's see different examples of shapes that we have. Geometric shapes, these are your regular squares, triangles, circles, parallelogram, trapeziums, all these two-dimensional shapes that you know. Now we have natural shapes. These are your leaf shapes. They are grouped under natural shapes. Different kind of shapes of leaves that you have. We also have abstracted shapes. These are created graphical shapes like icons that we use in representing a particular object. Icons. So those are abstracted shapes and anybody can develop that. Now let's go into another important element of design, and this is one of the most complex aspects, which is color. Now color is used to generate emotions, divine importance, create visual interest, and many things. Color is so important in design that if you get it wrong, you get your design wrong. So right usage of colors is very important when it comes to graphic design. And your color speaks even more than your words. So you can use your colors to generate emotions, to communicate a particular kind of emotions to your audience. Then you can use it to define importance. And we are going to see all those things as we move on in our lesson. How you can make the best use of color. Color is a subject on its own that we tackle. It's not something we can rush into because of how complex and important it is. Texture, that's the next element of design. Texture is used in graphic design to show depth and visual interest. It refers to the look or feel of the surface of an object. When you touch a particular surface and you try to feel it with your hand, what you feel is the texture. So texture is also important in graphic design. We make use of it when we are trying to make a representation to look like the real object, so that when you see bubbles, you can easily identify it with water. When you see sandy or rough surface, you can easily identify it with something like sand, concrete. So we use texture to give depth to a visual image. The next element of design that we'll be looking at is mass. We all know what is called mass from physics. So mass is all about size. It's how large or small something is. In graphic design, mass is used to show importance, draw attention. You can use it to show hierarchy, and you can use it to create visual interest. That is very important. Hierarchy in graphic design is what differentiates a professional designer to a learner. If you can make use of your hierarchy very well in graphic design, it will help you. You know what to bold, you know what to enlarge, you know what to keep small. So those things are very important. Mass is an important element of design. And lastly, space. Wow. Now, under the principles of design, we are still going to learn more about space. Because I've seen a lot of design and it's so amazing the way people make use of their space. Now, space is one of the most important elements of design. Proper use of space helps direct the eye. It shows importance and enhances readability. You must give breathing space to your design elements. Don't come and put the whole element that you have in your mind and put it on a canvas. It will have a great effect on readability, and it will also create some clusters that will make the design not to be looking good. So all good design must have a good amount of white space. We will learn more about white space before the end of this lesson. So this is the area around or between other elements in a design. The way you space your letters, the way you space your words, even your margin, all those things are very, very important, and it's an element of design on its own. Now let's go into principles of design. What are the guided rules? The ways in which you can make use of the elements of design we have talked about, because this is very important. There is a way you must combine them together. So these are the guided ways through which you combine or make use of your elements for proper communication to an audience. Now, this greatly determines the success of your design. If you do not combine your elements in the right proportion, there is no quality alignment, there is no quality white space, the way you make use of the color is just conflicting. All these things will have effect on the final result of your design. So that is why you have to learn the principles. You have to learn the guided ways. So the first thing to learn is alignment. If I want to check a design, one of the first things my eye will firstly look out for is alignment. Alignment is an important principle in design. When you get it wrong, the result is a poor design. You can use alignment to show balance, visual connection between two elements, and most importantly, to create order and organization. A lot of design lack order. You see, your design speaks more about you as a person. It speaks more about your personality. If you personally on your own, you are not an orderly kind of person, your design also will be disordered. I'm very sure of that. So, but to prevent this, alignment, the way you align your shapes, as you can see in the example I'm giving below, the way you align your text, everything must be balanced. Now let me show you one easy way to achieve alignment. You can make use of grid. Irrespective of the software you are using, almost all software comes with grid. And if you can't add a grid, you can create the grid on your own using lines. With the example I have here, you can see that I have two icons here. I ensure that there is a balance with the spacing from left to right, from icon 1 to icon 2. Even the middle spacing is the same thing as the same space the icon is occupying. So you can see the red line showing that the letter is even aligning centrally to the icon. And I repeated the same thing in the right side. So this is very important. The way you align your elements Either your shapes, your icons, your text, or any of the graphical elements is very, very important. So that's one way to achieve alignment, by making use of grid lines. It will really help you. Number 2, contrast. Oh God. You see, this is another important principle of design. This simply means differentiating one item from another. If you see some design, the way they combine the elements lacks contrast. You can't even differentiate a particular text from another. You can't differentiate an important text from a less important one. Contrast is you ensure that when you are placing your element on top of each other, the element below is not conflicting and competing with the element above. If you are making use of light element below, then make use of a darker value at the top. If you are making use of a darker value below, make use of a lighter value at the top. This makes it easy for your readers to read your design, and it adds to the aesthetic value of your design. Let's see how we can achieve contrast. Number 1, juxtaposing opposite colors on color wheel. Just like you can see here, red on top of what? On top of blue. Blue and red is one of the primary colors we have, and they are opposite colors. So you can see that the red is what is coming out bold on top of the what? On top of the blue, because both colors are opposite colors on the color wheel. Now you can juxtapose light and dark value, as I've said before. You can see the text I make use of. The text is a darker value to the what? To the lower background, which happens to be what? A light value. Contrasting styles of text. You might have seen this in different designs that you have seen before. You can contrast styles of text. You can make use of italics, then combine it with a sans serif, as I have done here. Then you can adjust the size or weight of an element, as you can see by your left hand side. Graphic design for beginners and experts. I ensure that the graphic design is coming out bold. For beginners, it's not too bold. The expert, I make it lowercase and I bold it to show hierarchy, and to also direct the reader's eye, and to also show the importance, how important the text are layered. So contrast is a very important element, and these are the principles you can make use of in order to achieve contrast in design. You can now see that the graphic design is actually simple, in as much you can play to the rule. Another way you can make use of contrast is in graphic design. We use contrast to direct, I've talked about it, and create emphasis, call attention to an important information, and to enhance readability. See the simple product that is being displayed here, 50% off. The background is what? Is red in color. All other colors you have around here is white and cyan, then a lighter value of cyan below it. And you can notice that because I just make use of a little amount of red as background for my 50% off, which is the offer I'm giving out, your eye can easily see that 50% off. Now come to think of it, if I make use of another cyan color for that red background, you cannot easily know that that is an important thing I want you to see. But actually the most important element in this design is not even the bag, but what? The 50% off. And I ensure that I make use of what? A color that's opposite to the cyan. Proximity. This is a way of ensuring that related elements are grouped together. It helps to organize and give structure to your design elements. Elements closely grouped together will be judged by the reader to be connected. Now, in graphic design, we connect elements together. If you are designing a business card, you can decide to connect all your icons, your abstract shapes, group them in one side. Your text, your bigger font text, you group them to one side. Then your lower font text that are not so important but you still want the reader to read it, then what? You group them to one side, as you can see in the example I give here. Oh, repetition. This is a way of showing a consistent look and feel for a design. It is also used to show association and brand's identity. Now, if you take note of this whole slide that you have been watching from the beginning, you will have been seeing some kind of repetition in the colors I'm using, in the text I'm using, in the way I position my elements. That is simply what is called repetition. It is a way of creating an identity for your work. There is nowhere I will see my design. I don't need anybody to tell me that it is my design. I will know. If you steal my design, I will know. Because of what? I have my own way of designing. I have my own way of aligning my object. I have my own way of using my font. I have my own way of using my color. So if you steal my design or you steal my idea, easily I will know. So you create an identity through repetition. If you are working for a brand, you must ensure that you take note of those things. For instance, if you are working for Career Talks, we have our colors, cyan and magenta. So to achieve repetition, you create and work with a color palette. That is very important. Before you start any design, you must have your color palette. When we get to color, I will tell you how you can make use of your color palette and how you can arrange all these colors together in such a way that you will never have any problem with color again in your life. Choose one or two fonts to be used throughout the design. Now, see the examples I have below here. The logo of Career Talks that was designed by one of my brother Oluwaneshola Abraham Olagunju. The cyan and the magenta. In all our designs, cyan is always the dominating color, followed closely by magenta. And for our text, we make use of Alio bold mostly for our topics and our subtopics. Then for our normal text, we make use of VNI Avo bold and VNI Avo light. VNI Avo light is basically used for the normal text. Then when we want to create a contrast in text, like trying to draw importance to a particular text, we make use of VNI Avo bold. So, and that is what we make use of throughout all our productions. Anywhere you find careertalks.ng designs or anything, you can't see anything different from this. It's either you see cyan, you see magenta, you see Alio bold font, or you see VNI Avo bold font or VNI Avo light. Now, you might be asking, but you are using black color for your text. Black is just a natural color. Colors like black, like white, like gray, they are basically natural colors. So anybody can make use of that, even though we still have some brands that is their color. But basically, our own color is cyan and magenta. White space. I believe you are enjoying the class. Now, this is another important element of design. I remember when I started, my designs were so complex. I didn't like what I'm producing. Then a brother gave me, he might not know, but he just mentioned it. Bro Samson Iroko. He just mentioned that thing that day, white space. He was just talking about it. And I grabbed it. I went on the internet. I took my time to read more about white space. And I found out that this was the missing element in my design. So I don't know if I should call this the most important principle of design. The easiest way to identify a good design from a poor one is to look at the management and usage of white space. The way you make use of your margins, the way you make use of the spacing between your lines, the way you make use of the spacing between your elements. Look at this simple business card design, the front of a business card design. Just the logo, the name of the brand, and the motto of the brand or tagline, and that's all. The other empty space is what we call white space. It directs the eye of the reader. As you are taking the business card, already you know the information there. Instantly, it's careertalks.ng. This is their logo, this is their tagline, and that's all. You don't need to put more elements and fill the whole space. No, the aim is not to fill the whole space. The aim is to communicate the message and ensure it is rightly communicated. White space doesn't necessarily have to be white. Take note of that. It only represents negative space. As you can see in the design below, the whole space that remains are just cyan in color. So it doesn't have to be white. It's just a negative space between your content, your lines, your margins, and different graphical elements. The principle behind white space is this: less is more. Less is more. And that's our lesson for today, elements of design. So let's do a quick recap. We've looked at 6 elements of design. We've looked at line, shape, color, texture, mass, space. Then we also looked at what are the guiding principles in ensuring that you make use of these 6 elements very well. So we make use of alignment, contrast, proximity, repetition, and white space. If you can take your time to go through this lesson 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, by the time you are going the 4th time, you will have been able to grab this lesson very well. This is the most important lesson in graphic design. If you do not get this right, there is no way you can be so good in using software that you will produce good design. This is what we call design sense. If you don't know this, you don't know graphic design. So take your time, watch the video. It took me 3 good days and another day, the 4th day, to produce this work for you in such a way you can understand. So I beg you, take your time. Thank you for following, and God bless you. Holy Spirit, we worship you, we give you glory. Thank you for the understanding. Thank you for being a great teacher for us. We worship you. In Jesus' name, amen. That is elements of design and principles of design. See you next time. I'm Akintaro Iyola Ifeoluwa.